It's finally time once again to begin what promises to be another thrilling season of Formula One action. Pre-season times, subject of so much discussion in recent weeks, mean nothing now, as the cars line up to battle it out for points once again. So let's get this season underway. Welcome to the Australian Grand Prix. We're a stone's throw from the enormous Port Phillip Bay for today's race at the 3.28-mile Albert Park circuit. It's a bumpy racing surface here, and the 14 corners could prove especially difficult in the wet conditions. So watch out for a safety car at some point during this Grand Prix. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Piastri, Tsunoda, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, and Hamilton, Norris, Russell, Stroll, and Liam Lawson, Hadjar, Albon, Fernando Alonso, and Sainz, Gasly, Bortoletto, Nico Hülkenberg, and Ollie Behrman. Ocon and Jack Doohan rounds off the grid. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. And alongside me in the commentary box today, former racing driver herself, Naomi Schiff. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, every driver certainly has their own way of preparing themselves before a race. But I can tell you that pre-race rituals are a real thing. When I was in go-karting, I used to touch every wheel in a specific sequence before I got into the kart. And then I stepped up to cars and had a specific set of fireproof base layers just for race day. So watch the drivers when they're on the grid. Some may be sitting on the floor and isolating, others may be up to other things that they do. But these little things really help their minds get ready for the race.
Okay, final lap. Let's go. Final lap.
From lights out to the checkered flag, each and every driver has this moment in the back of their mind. Now it's time for their celebrations. Our podium, it awaits. But there can only be one on the top step. Your number one, Max Verstappen. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.